What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to Trading Live with Bubba. And it's been a relatively wild morning, as you can see by some of the action. But one of the things we're lacking is volume. You've got a mixed bag. The Dow and Russell are up big. The S&P is around flat, and the NASDAQ is lower. But they've all come back quite a bit off of their earlier lows, and they were higher. I mean, it's been kind of a wild situation. If you look on a bigger chart, so I can kind of show you what happened earlier. Look at that action in here. They had news this morning. Markets tanked and rallied, and of course now we're turning around. So that's kind of the picture. I'm going to be a little distracted here for a couple of minutes, so just bear with me here. But we are watching and we are prepared should we get something to trade. But overall, it's been, again, very thin action. So, going into the holiday week, it makes it, more of a challenge, to want to be active in here, because you can really put yourself in jeopardy in a thin market. Again, there's nothing wrong with it. If you're comfortable with the risk and you're comfortable with what's going on, then that's great. Okay, then you can trade this. But if you're not comfortable and you're afraid to take a beating, which you certainly can, then you should be, more willing to sit it out here. I mean, this is, again, the volume is light, the volume is thin. So it has to be, you have to be comfortable. The biggest thing about trading is being comfortable with the risk that you're willing to take. Okay. And I think that's something that we have to watch. Now we're going to watch this because we are getting some pretty good whips, but at the end, we traded this morning and had a couple of big winners. We took a gamble trade that was a loser. And just for everybody here who's interested, on Saturday, I do an options call. And if you're interested, we're giving it away free for one Saturday, which is this Saturday coming. If you'd like to get that, just email me at bubba@bubbatrading.com and I'll send you an invitation. But we trade every Saturday. We set up trades for the week. But overall, right now, we're kind of staging, waiting for the next way we're going to move. And, again, I do believe overall that the tops are in, but that doesn't mean that we can't go higher. Again, one of the things you have to remember is we can still move a couple of percent, okay, before we break through the top. So that's something to always remember, okay, is that just because I think the top doesn't mean that we're going straight down. Okay, that is something that is important for you to understand. Markets are very finicky, and depending on the time frame that you're trading, depending on what you're doing, those are things. Now we don't have any opportunities right now. And so we're going to continue to watch here, and I'll just discuss what's going on in the markets. But you are getting some pretty good whip. I would say today we could close up big, down big, or flat, which obviously is not a big stretch. But you are getting a dramatic amount of movement, and but again, it's very thin, and we'll see. I think this will be more of a news-driven, last minute thing. Something would come out, like we had Ukraine this morning. That was the initial move this morning. And I think that's just something that you have to be aware and prepared for. Again, this relates back to the risk, okay, that you're willing to take. Okay. If you're not afraid of losing, let's say, 10 points on the S&P, which on a big one is 500, on a micro is $50, then great. Then you can trade in this market. But if that's going to concern you, because you have to give the markets, you always have to give the markets enough room to move. Okay, you have to give them enough room to allow you to make money. Okay, and that is something that we and always want everybody to understand, is that those are very important things to understand. So the risk that you're taking has to be commensurate with what you're comfortable with. Okay. Now again, we don't have any trades right now, anyways, but you can see the larger whips, which means that we have to be willing, if we're going to get involved in this market, because when you're trading in a vacuum, which is kind of what we're in right now. You get these dramatic moves. I mean, the NASDAQ was down 300, then the next thing you knew it was down 150. And that'll take you out of some trades. And many times that will take you out of trades by accident. You know, move just enough to hit your stop, which is why you have to give it enough room for your stops to work. And that is something that many don't understand. And it becomes obviously more complicated because, again, too many of us are emotional about losses. And again, that's the worst trait of a trader. You want to be conservative and you want to be defensive, but you don't want, you have to be able to take the loss, because you're going to have losses. Okay. Right now, even on this call, we're hitting probably 90%, which is way too high. That means that when we win, we're not winning enough. Okay. But again, you have to be able to trade in the market conditions that you have. And right now we have nothing to do. Okay. And so we're going to do nothing. We're going to sit and we're going to watch, and I'll continue to, give you some information of what's going on here. But at the end of the day, this is what we have to deal with right now. So we're not going to change, we can't change the market. We can only change ourselves. Okay. And that's the important thing to understand is, so here, where's my trade? Where am I going to trade? I don't see anything. Okay. We can look at some of the other markets. I do think just a quick look, I think Google is a definite sale. Okay. If you're willing, I think that's a trade to make. And I did sell the myself this morning. I sold the 307.50, 327.50 call spread deep in the money because I was creating a synthetic put. But this is a pure blow off. We're about 5 standard deviations from the mean here. So do I want to? I'm not buying it. So either I sell it or I watch it. Okay. Apple getting okay. I would certainly be looking to sell Apple. Okay. And again, it's not that I'm bearish the stock. I'm playing the mathematical probability. Okay. That's short-term trading, and these types of trades are all based on short-term mathematical probability. Right now, Apple's probably 3 standard deviations from the mean, which is about a 90% chance it'll retrace. Now, if you sell call spreads in Apple, which let's go ahead and do that. Well, while we're talking, let's go ahead and take a look at it. Okay, so if you sell call spreads, I want to sell these for December 5th. Okay, I would sell the 280, 250 for $1.15. Okay, I'm risking $1.35 to make $1.15. Now the market doesn't have to go down. It can go up another $1, and it can go actually up another $2, and I won't lose any money. Now it doesn't mean it won't go past that, but at the end of the day, the probability suggests that at worst case, Apple should sit in consolidation. Okay. Amazon, there is really nothing to trade here right now. Coin, pretty oversold, but already bounced off, so we've kind of missed that initial bounce. Crowd getting close. Ether bounced already. Meta, which we've been in, which we lost on, has already bounced. Google, I showed you. INOQ was the other day. We didn't have a chance to do this. IWM, nothing to do. And again, this is what you can scroll through quickly if you're using like the Bollinger Bands. Okay. Then you can see, are we overbought or are we oversold? And again, that's what you're looking at because that's what we're trying to take advantage of. Even the same thing in our short-term stuff. Okay. Right now, where are we? Well, we're doing nothing. We're going sideways. We've been going sideways for the last 30 minutes or so, and pretty much across the board. The markets will break out again out of this range. Which way will they break? I don't know. I have no idea. But all I'm waiting for is for them to break out, and hopefully they'll do it with some speed and some volume, and then I can go ahead and participate. Crude is doing absolutely nothing. Gold is doing absolutely nothing. So once again, there we are. We have to be patient enough to wait for these moves, because if you're not patient, you're not going to make any money. You might make the occasional, but for the most part, you're going to be a loser. Okay. And again, it's much more prudent to be on top of your game and be ready and understand what you're trying to do, other than just hitting buttons and flashing back and forth. MP, nothing really to do. Microsoft, certainly oversold. You could certainly sell put spreads on here. MSFT. And for the 5th, we'd sell like the 470, 467.50 for $1. Yeah, I could do that too. Again, look, am I bullish, bearish, Microsoft? I'm neither. I'm playing, once again, I'm playing a mathematical probability that the stock should bounce. That's the whole entire situation here, is I'm looking for the stock to bounce or to hold. Like I said, if we sell put spreads, we don't need it to go up. We just don't need it to go down. Okay. And we do have a $3 cushion in case it does go down a little bit. Now, again, obviously Microsoft, a $500 stock, 1% is $5. So it wouldn't shock me if it went down below there. It wouldn't surprise. I mean, listen, we've lost money before. It won't be the first time. And you can see, and our indexes are just sitting in the ranges. So again, where's my trade? Crude, could be creating something here. Kind of a stretch. Okay. Kind of a stretch. We kind of missed maybe a sell, but it's in such a narrow range. Again, this is where do I really want to get involved here? And my answer is no, I don't. I'd rather sit it up. Okay. MSTR, well, getting down there again, but not quite far enough where we'd like to get involved. Netflix, which we've added, nothing yet, but certainly you'd be looking to potentially sell put spreads here. Again, very oversold. So that's what we want to be looking at. We want to be on the side of probability. NNE, not yet. Nugget, I haven't traded for a while, but it's really still stuck on a range. NVIDIA, certainly you'd want to look to sell call spreads here. That would be something to, look for yourself. Excuse me, put spread. I don't know if I said call or put. I meant put spreads. Whatever I said, I meant put spreads. Okay. Let's see what those look like for next week. 170, 167.50. Yeah, it's a little skinny on the price, but if I get $1 for it, I would take $1 for that. Palantir looks awful, but it probably is getting to the point. Well, it's not there yet. It was oversold. It's not there yet. No trade. QBTS, no trade. QQQ, no trade. SMCI, no trade. SPY, no trade. XYZ, no trade. But you can see a lot of these that we had put on in the past have all worked exactly as we expected. Okay. Again, they're not all going to win, but we know we have limited risk, limited reward. You don't have to sit there and watch them. It's not like trying to day trade. You can set it, forget it, and look at it occasionally. Okay. You only have to make sure you do something with it by the expiration, which is December 5th. So again, this is something, here we go. So you're going to the top end of the range now in the indexes, but again, they're not breaking out. So what trade is there for me? Where am I going to make money with this? And this is what we have to always remember, that there's very little to do. And if there's very little to do, then should we do something or should we do nothing? Okay. That's the way that I look at it. And I prefer to do nothing. When I was on the trading floor, if the markets were like this, I'd be either on the golf course already or playing gin or backgammon or hearts up in the office. Okay. Because we all had the same idea that if there's nothing going on, why should we be there? What is there to trade? I can only find myself in trouble. Okay. And that is something that is important to understand in the business. Okay. Is when you have an edge, you want to take it. When you have no edge, when you're a 50-50, you have no interest in it. And I think that's something that you should always keep in mind. So in the meantime, with the lack of very little to do, I think we'll just wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. I remind you that Saturday, if you want to come to my call, for options. Bubba at BubbaTrading.com. Send me an email. And have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. And we want obviously know Thursday. And also remember, I do the Market 120 every morning as an update. Have a great week. Have a great holiday. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.